If the majority of the world isn't talking about one single must-listen podcast, this industry is dead, right? Wrong. So very, very wrong. Here's why this mythical success factor needs to die. Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Every time there's a negative article about podcasting's inability to generate blockbuster hits, I get a little stabby. Because here's the secret. You don't need to create a blockbuster podcast. Because podcasting does not need blockbuster hits. Now, I know that seems at odds with other forms of media. 3 or 4 times a year there's a blockbuster movie that almost everyone is talking about. And every fall, there's a TV program or two that captures the entirety of the world, it seems. There are hit songs that dominate the airwaves for weeks or months, and there are best-selling books that everyone you know is reading. But in podcasting, not so much. Not since the 2014-2015 era by some yardsticks. Back to my secret. So what? You were probably expecting me to come break down all the reasons why podcasting is different from those mediums, like our purposely distributed architecture that we built podcasting on 20 years ago, or the relatively low barrier to entry, both creating and distribution, podcasting affords, or the fact that it's a podcast tells a potential listener absolutely nothing about the actual content of that audio. And yeah, all of those things are true and certainly contribute to why podcasting doesn't really have blockbuster hits the way that other media forms have blockbuster hits. But I return to my secret another time. So what? Look, podcasting doesn't need blockbuster hits to survive. Podcast creators, those in it for the long haul at least, don't need blockbuster hits to survive. Do we need popular shows that attract and retain a large audience? Yeah, the industry certainly needs that. And many shows, especially those with high production costs, they also need that. But an audience described as large and retained need not mean everyone. Having a large and retained audience of several orders of magnitude lower than everyone can still make the efforts pay off for all of a podcast's creators. And that's what matters for many podcasters. It's what matters for many podcast networks. It's what matters for many podcast service providers who build the tools and services necessary to power podcasting as an industry. My advice? Get out of podcasting if you want to make a blockbuster hit. But stay in podcasting if you want to build a show or a service that can only work in podcasting. And with that, I shall be back next week with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers!